Once upon a time, in a small village lived a man named Esai, known far and wide as the laziest carpenter anyone had ever met. Though he had the skills to work with wood, he preferred idling his time away, following old women around the village, engaging in endless chatter and gossiping. His hammer and saw collected dust while his neighbors' homes, beds, and chairs cried for repairs. Esai married several times, but none of his wives stayed long. Each one thought they could change him, but his laziness was more powerful than their hopes. His first wife, Efi, tried to support him, doing petty trading to bring in some money. She hoped he would change, but day after day, she would return home to find him lounging under the village tree, telling stories instead of working. She struggled to feed their children, but the burden became too much. Finally, she left him, carrying their children on her back and seeking a better life. His second wife, Didi, was a strong woman, but even she couldn't endure the suffering. Esai's mother tried to convince her son to change, offering him advice and sometimes even money to get him by. She would often scold him, saying, "Esai, your laziness will be the end of you." But he would brush her off, blaming the villagers for not giving him enough work instead of admitting his own faults. Fights often broke out in Esai's home. His lack of education didn't help his case either. He would argue with anyone who dared to suggest that he should work harder. One by one, his wives left, leaving him with nothing but a ruined reputation. His last wife, Oma, who saw his potential but was ultimately disappointed, walked out on him too after enduring months of hunger and poverty. Esai's siblings were all hardworking and successful, especially his younger half-sister, Ya. Ya was known for her business acumen. She rose to wealth and status, but Esai, instead of admiring her determination, accused her of using mystical powers to succeed. He would go around the village, claiming, "Ya is using juju. There is no way she can be that successful without dark magic." The only woman who managed to marry him and stay, Akojua, came from a poor background herself. She had hoped that they would somehow rise together, but instead, she found herself sinking deeper into misery. Esai's poverty became her poverty. They lived in a dilapidated hut with leaking roofs and broken furniture. Akojua tried to encourage him to work, but Esai remained unyielding, and soon she too began to regret her choices. In his later years, as his situation worsened, Esai turned against his successful half-brothers. They had become landowners and businessmen, and instead of asking them for help, he destroyed their properties, accusing them of stealing his destiny. "They took my star. I should have been the wealthy one," he shouted in anger as he broke down fences and ruined their farms. Esai's downfall was swift and certain. His siblings, tired of his endless accusations and destructive behavior, cut ties with him completely. He was left alone, wandering the village with no friends or family willing to help him. His mother, old and tired, could do no more for him, and even she eventually gave up. As the years passed, Esai became a symbol of wasted potential in the village. Children were warned not to be like him, the lazy carpenter who had the tools but never used them. He lived out his final days in extreme poverty, blaming everyone but himself for his misfortune. His bride, Akojua, had long since left, and in the end, Esai had nothing but regret and loneliness. And so, Esai's story came to a bitter end, an example of how laziness, pride, and the refusal to take responsibility can destroy not only a person but those around them. The villagers told his tale as a cautionary lesson for generations to come. Meanwhile, a man named Gideon, whom they learnt carpentry together in the village, traveled to the city where he established a thriving carpentry shop. On several occasions, he had invited ESI to come join him in his business in the city where he partnered with a foreigner, but ESI had refused, saying, "Don't disturb me, I am me and you are you. I am doing good in the village." So his friend ignored him. As ESI end became real, he stepped up to his fears to go to the city and meet his friend for work opportunity, but when he went, the friend was no longer available as he had traveled out of the country. He wandered the city looking for help and doing menial jobs at his old age. The moral of the story is to take chances in life, aim high, don't settle for less, try before you give up. Don't stay in that comfort zone, try new opportunities. Stop relying on handouts from family and friends for long. Find a way to fend for yourself. For ladies, read the signs, and if he is lazy and relies on handouts, don't marry him yet except you are rich enough financially and emotionally to carry the burdens of the family. Even then, it's not always easy.